Stage 6 of the 9-stage Giro d'Italia Women. And after the big Dolomite stage yesterday, it offered an opportunity to the sprinters if the race could be controlled to go that way. Let me remind you though, only one sprinter in this race so far has been winning, and that's Elisa Balsamo. Much to the delight of the Italian fans, of course, the dominant Italian sprinter and her team ready to go again, if they could, in Brescello. They started out in Ala, in Trento, Alto Adige, and rode through the Veneto, through Lombardia, and into Emilia-Romagna. Beautiful stage this, again in glorious sunshine. And once they'd headed out through Trentino, they were riding 66 kilometres along the banks of Lago di Garda, Lake Garda, in its glorious early summer conditions. This is how the breakaway formed. In actual fact, it was Sharon Spimi of Top Girls Fassa Bortolo who was the first to go. She was in the breakaway on the first day, of course, and just like on that first day where we had a sprint finish, 4 Italian riders in the break, all from UCI Continental teams. Camilla Bezzoni, Sharon Spimi, as I say, Gaia Segato, and Irene Cadnazzo. Back in the Peloton, a little bit of a day off for the general classification riders. Lisa Longo-Borghini, who'd had a tough day out yesterday, chasing the group of 4 leaders out front and limiting her losses on the day. She looked relaxed back there. This always should have been a day off for the general classification riders, and they also would have been hoping for a sprint. However, there's always drama on the Giro d'Italia Women, and there was a split in the Peloton too. Caught in the back of that split, Marlon Russa and the European champion Demi Vollering too. It was never an enormous gap, but those who'd taken advantage of it included the likes of Movistar, who were pressing on. Well, all that chasing and the closing of gaps meant, unfortunately for the breakaway of 4, they were caught with just around about 55 kilometres to go. The split was still there though, and it needed to be sewn up. Gradually, that was happening, but along the way we were also starting to think about the day's only intermediate sprint point, the Maglia Rossa sprint in Ospitaletto, and it was Elisa Balsamo looking the best of them, and she always would have done as well in the Maglia Rossa, adding an extra 12 points to her red jersey lead. Balsamo ahead of Femke Heritzer, Ninka Wienerven, Demi Vollering and Anna van der Breggen, the race leader of course, also getting involved in that for those bonus seconds. All the bonus seconds though went to Elisa Balsamo. Then we saw a daring late attack with 21 kilometres to go. Giorgia Serena, the Italian 22-year-old from Team Medelspeck E-Work, went off by herself, and she did a brilliant job holding off a chasing peloton for just over 10 kilometres. Eventually caught with about 9k to go, but it was a brilliant ride by the young Italian rider. Human Powered Health were really up for this, as were Phoenix Premier Tech, thinking of course of Charlotte Kuhl. Human Powered Health we already knew, with 2 very good options in Lily Williams and Maggie Coles-Lyster. 3k to go. It was Elisa Longo-Borghini, of course, working for UAE ADQ, seeing if they get that stage win for Lara Gillespie, the Italian champion who's looked so good in the sprints in this race. She was tucked in well behind Elisa Longo-Borghini. When you've got someone like Longo-Borghini working for you, you know you've got to make the most of it. We had a crash though with about a kilometre to go as well, affecting Millie Cousins, the British road race champion, and 3 or 4 other riders too. Going under the Flamme Rouge, it was the Dutch woman Lucinda Brand, again proving her worth for Elisa Balsamo. She had Balsamo on her wheel. Brand was going all the way through the final kilometre by herself, the Dutch woman for Lidl-Trek. What a valuable rider she is for Balsamo. She's a big part of why Balsamo is going so well. Not everyone wanted to let Balsamo have it her own way, though. Maggie Coles-Lyster went for it early and tried to hang on, but when Balsamo came past her in that Maglia Rossa, there was only ever going to be one winner. And she hasn't won 3 stages, she's now won 4. What a dominant performance by the outright dominant sprinter. 4 stage wins for the former world champion. Elisa Balsamo is loving this year's Giro d'Italia Women. Day off for Anna van der Breggen and the other general classification riders, and a transitional stage tomorrow actually for them to keep a watch on each other. Balsamo of course continues to lead in the Maglia Rossa competition, the red jersey competition for the points. Best climber is still Anna van der Breggen. That will be worn by Valentina Cavallar, of course, tomorrow. The best young rider is Isabella Holmgren.